right. I'll give you a few updates here. You can grab that. Okay, couple things to update you on. We have named Amy Miller as our interim city administrator. As you guys are aware, Kareth is leaving July 5th, and certainly wish him the best in South Florida. The job has been posted, the city administrator job, and so we are working through that, and we're having discussions today also about potentially hiring someone to help us bolster that selection. Obviously, we know that's a vital position at the city, and setting the direction and executing the direction of the city, and a strategic plan that will be done at the end of this year. So, we haven't made that decision totally yet, but still talking with HR. But the job has already been posted and was on Friday, I believe, and so I don't have any update on numbers or status or anything like that, but I wanted to let you know that. We got some good news from funding as it pertains to the two PACES projects that have been proposed and now for a while at Baptist Hospital. Florida Housing Finance's review committee recommended both of those projects to get FHFC board funding. That's Cooperian Manor and Avery Place. Cooperian Manor is the senior development, about 94 units. Avery Place is the family at 112. So over 200 units of affordable housing. And the board meets on Friday, and hope if they agree with the committee's findings, then those should move forward. And how that also positively impacts the city is, if you recall, the city council had already voted to support the 9% project, which required a $460-ish thousand contribution to the city for that project to take place. With this funding stream coming from Hurricane Sally one-time money, that means that $460,000 wouldn't be required. So that actually would be a savings to the city, to the taxpayer. So great news across that front. So fingers crossed, there's still some final touches to put on that, but certainly great news as we talk about a housing crisis here in the city, that we could have two significant housing projects up and moving on the Baptist campus. Let's see, we've got tomorrow, we'll officially welcome a new carrier, Breeze Airways, to Pensacola International Port. Excuse me, it's on Friday, right? Is it? And they will offer flights to Tampa, and then continue on to Norfolk, Virginia on Mondays and Fridays. And I believe that first plane arrives around 11:20 on Friday. So very excited, not only to have, when you look at the number of seats, even year over year, and the number of flights year over year, I believe the numbers I saw from July proposed, we're up between 25 and 30% year over year on the number of total seats coming into our airport and the number of total flights. Both of those metrics are in that 28% range. We have those exact numbers, but that's with our existing carriers. And when you bring in another carrier, that's just that many more options. And obviously what you hope is you see that there's a lot of response, and that does well, and that carrier continues to add more options. So this is our first jet service to Tampa. We do have Silver Airways flying prop to Tampa, but this will be the first jet service. We already have Miami, Orlando in multiple carriers, so making it easier to get around the state of Florida from Pensacola. So excited to have that, and hopefully we'll see you guys there on Friday. We have an open house today for our strategic plan. Gail, the team is here from 4 to 7. We'll have food trucks here, and we're buying dinner for folks that are coming to participate. And we've got some prize giveaways, and we want as much participation as possible. So we're doing it here at City Hall. I believe it's going to be in Hagler Mason on the second floor, and it'll be that interactive type. It's not someone talking at you for a couple hours. It's going to be for our residents that are coming in and helping us come up with that strategic plan. We're going to be able to. It's very interactive. It's a fun process. So hopefully we get a great turnout. So that'll be, again, 4 to 7 here at City Hall, 4 to 7 p.m. Next Mayor's Neighborhood Cleanup is this Saturday. and that'll be Sanders Beach, Bayou Grove, and West Garden District. And just need to have your stuff at the curb by 7 a.m. And we did have the donut strike for Amana. Our police officers and firefighters will be collecting food donations at area grocery stores. You may see them out front from today through Friday. So we've had lots of participation here for a while on that, and we're excited to continue to play a part in that. And then lastly, I was end of last week was at the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Kansas City at the annual meeting, and learned a lot of great things, lots of panels that are pertinent to us right now, and that's been the case since I've started. Learning from other mayors and being able to see best practices around the country have been great, and I was fortunate enough to be elected to leadership position on the advisory committee for the U.S. Conference of Mayors. So certainly humbled by being elected to that position. I think we're the third smallest city out of the 33 that are on that advisory group, and so certainly an honor to be part of that, and not only to get to continue to learn more from mayors, but to help set policy and make decisions that affect cities across the country. So very honored and humbled that I'd have the support of mayors around the country to be elected to that position. So that'll mean I'll be at a couple more meetings throughout the year, and I'll be on that advisory committee as long as I'm mayor. So very excited for that, and we'll have our first meeting for all the U.S. Conference of Mayors leadership in the fall. So that is everything I have, and happy to take any questions that you've got.
You mentioned that open house for the strategic planning. Could you kind of explain a little bit how that initiative is going to go to benefit the community?
Yeah, sure. So by this fall, we've been working with Gail for a few months already, and been active in the community trying to get as much feedback as we can about setting the direction of what the city should look like in 10 years and what our goals are as a community, not just what the mayor thinks or what the council thinks, but what we all think is the direction that we want to go. So, we're trying to be more intentional and have as strong outreach as we can, not hoping that the same few folks that we might see at all of these are the only people we hear from. And it's really a two-way street. I think it takes a lot of intentionality by the city to find people where they are, and not just hope that they come to a council meeting or to City Hall, but we have proactive efforts. And so we've been doing that now. This one, of course, tonight is here, but we've been out in the community with this process significantly. Adrian and Rachel, especially in our office, has been doing an awesome job. So that's number one. And number two is what we always say when decisions are made about the city is, I wish someone would have asked me. Well, we're asking. I mean, and so it doesn't require you to be in person. This is something that can be filled out in 5 minutes online. And that could go a long way. And we want to hear from everybody, old and young, black and white. I'll give an example. One of the demographics we're wanting to fill a lot more is our young people. We're talking about 16 and 17-year-olds. And that's very hard across a lot of communities to get feedback on things like this from them, because usually they're not asked, right? We kind of rely on folks that again, maybe come to the meetings, that might be more engaged in city government, and you'll hear from them. We have already here, but what do young people want? So actually, we have all our interns, for an example, here, and we said, hey, before you get started, we'd like you to fill out what you want your vision for the city to be. And so challenging our young people that their voice matters. And at the end of the day, in 10 years, it's going to affect some of those folks perhaps more than folks that have already filled it out. And so what do we want to leave for our kids and grandkids? I mean, let's ask them. And so that's what we want from tonight and all of our efforts in this strategic plan is we want to hear from everybody about what they want the city to be. And then my obligation becomes implementing that. Is then now we should be making decisions at the city based on this is what you've told us and this is the direction that we're going to go. And so I'm looking forward to this and having this report, because that just gives us that much more assurance that when we are making decisions about what happens in Pensacola, we're doing it collectively, not on a hunch or not on things that we think might be impactful, but we know will be impactful.
Is there any specific input you guys kind of look for, or is it just any changes?
Yeah, well, because I think people are passionate about different things, right? Some people might be passionate about reducing homelessness, or some might be more passionate about housing. bikeability and walkability. That's another, we have entire organizations in our community that's what their focus is making it a more pedestrian-friendly place, right? So no, not any one particular thing, but we want to make sure that the feedback's robust. It should match the demographics of our city in age and race, in gender. That when you have good survey data, that's what you want. And so, again, the easy thing to do is we found the folks that are the most engaged. We've tried to be very proactive in affording opportunities and saying, hey, we're going to buy you dinner and give us a little bit of your time, just to tell us what you want from the city. So cities can always do better at that, and I think there's a growing trend nationally that cities understand they can't just post something on Facebook or something like that and that be our outreach. And so I'm proud of the outreach that we've had. But I also am leaning on our community to say this: if you complain about the ability to have your word and have your opportunity to influence what we do, it's right in front of us now, and so we very much appreciate that, and we hope that we continue to get feedback, more robust feedback from the community in both this and many of the other studies that we actually have going on right now.
Have you worked out an agreement with Baptist on the demolition consultant being able to get in the building?
I believe the update this morning was it is on our desk right now, and it should. The goal is to be finished up by today. I have not gotten with the city attorney on this yet. We've got he's in an all-day meeting right now, but I believe it'll require some council action. I've heard that he's expecting that it'll require council action, which, if that's the case, would be this July. I believe 18th is the day, the July 18th meeting, obviously. So I wasn't sure on that if we would need council action on it or not. But if that's the case and we confirm that, then I would imagine it'll be July 18th. But in terms of having it ready to go, I've been told that the goal would be, barring something unforeseen, that will be good with the document as of today.
Have you got a report from your staff on the continuum of care meeting, where they are with that?
I have not. Yeah, I've been out some too. So, but yeah, I haven't gotten any report yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about this morning? Department of Transportation announced a $4.9 million grant coming to the. Does it come? It's complete Cervantes Complete Street Project.
Yes.
Is that going to be managed by the city or the counties?
I would imagine it depends on the section of Cervantes. So if it's
it starts at W Street and goes to Bob Tahar.
Yeah. So if this is from the last briefing I got on this, I think is when maybe a few months back when we mentioned, because it was what the questions or concerns was, well, we don't like some of the aspects of Cervantes Street and the improvements in the road that already taken place. Does that mean it's going to be moving all the way to Bayou Tahar? That is not my understanding. This was not an application that I believe that I think this has been pending for a while.
Is it a city application?
And I mean, David, if you want to speak to it.
I'm not 100% positive.
It's a raise grant is what they're talking about.
Yeah, we gave an update a few months ago on, I think this was some additional iteration of some of the previous work that had already been done with FDOT. But I'm imagining it's going to be handled, if it's on a state road, I'm going to imagine that's not something that we would be managing. I think it would be something that FDOT would be managing. But Caitlin Sarame would be our point of contact, I'm sure, in terms of anything that would be happening there. Sorry, I don't have more information on that yet. Anything else?
In a statement released yesterday, gun violence is now the #1 death for teens. How is the city being proactive in protecting against teen violence, and how are you working with law enforcement?
Yeah, we actually just had a conversation, just did with the chief this morning about even trying to update some of our policies in terms of, and not, this isn't specific to teens, but just in terms of incidents happening, what the ability of our officers is, what they can do in those incidents, and that maybe matching more of what's happened at the county. The point being there that it's on our mind, and certainly we see it. We are proud of the track record of safety, within the city limits. We're working on really the first of its kind in the city. We're in the final stages of getting a public safety dashboard out for everybody that continues to update in real time, and the types of crimes, where they're happening, and because the challenge is, how do we measure success in public safety? I can say it's a safe community. a citizen can say it's not a safe community, and what is our true measurement. So that's why we do a strategic plan, is we want to have something tangible, and we want to be able to say that we are a safe community, or we have opportunity for improvement based on these things. So I know we're very proactive in keeping this city safe. I think our team and our police officers do an awesome job. So I'd hate to speak to what our metrics are in the city as opposed to teen gun incidents. I won't know that off the top of my head, or if we've seen any recently. But you have to defer that to Mike and the PPD in terms of getting you those numbers. But what I could tell you is we're continuing for looking for ways to improve, and we're continuing to respect the citizen and saying, hey, we're a safe community, and let us show you that we're a safe community. Or if things are going up, that we're on top of it, that we don't like to see, and if things are going down, that we're managing up, doing a great job at the police department, and that we see those crimes, those incidents going down. So more to come on that, but we're at the final stages of being able to roll that out, and where any citizen at any time can say, here, how are we doing last month, last year, within these particular types of crimes, things like that.
Kind of switching gears a little bit. Flooding is still kind of a concern, especially with hurricane season rolling around. So I know Escambia County has the vulnerability assessment project that they're working to assess that.
Mm-hmm.
Is the City of Pensacola have any hand in that, or if not, what do you guys do to assess flood risks?
Yeah, so we actually just finished our vulnerability assessment. We presented to council over 2 different meetings. And there's a lot of value in that. One, you know where you stand. And 2 is when we start to go look for grant funding opportunities. Actually, there's been 2 in the last week or so that have been announced. And I don't remember the exact dollar amounts, but significant dollar amounts for coastal resiliency, things like that. Well, those applications are much stronger when you say, we've assessed the need, exactly where we are. So Cynthia Cannon and our planning office has been running that for quite a while now, and again, is doing a great job. We just had I think we had a big event workshop just before I left town at Sanders Beach with all of the kind of thought leaders within this space in our community. So I'm proud of where we are on that. We take it seriously. It's for whether it be a vulnerability assessment, whether it be having to make difficult decisions in terms of how we fund stormwater assessment so we can, try to mitigate. That's what we're in process of discussing and have discussed with our council right now, is having to get serious about, having the funding that we need to pay for the stormwater infrastructure it takes. And it becomes a growing problem each and every day. So I'm happy where we're at with that, but there's plenty of work ahead. And so we'll continue to apply for grants. We'll continue to assess where we are. We don't want, we know that we felt a lot of pain in this community, whether it be a hurricane, whether it be the 2014 flood, whether it be just driving home after a difficult rain event or a robust rain event in one day, where maybe a street or 2 or an intersection is shut down. Those aren't things that we want. And so hopefully we'll start to continue to get more and more serious about that so we can mitigate those issues and be a more resilient city.
And is the city's vulnerability assessment, is that in partnership with Escambia counties, or is it 2 separate?
I know we have, the one we conducted was our own. I'd have to get you with Cynthia in terms of, who else collaborated. I'd hate to not give someone credit that maybe collaborated with us, but I know it was conducted and presented on just the city side. So I'm speculating, but my guess is if the county's doing it, they're probably doing the same thing, a similar process that they've just started a little bit later. Anything else? All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.